Okay, I think we're ready to start.
But we just finished the talk. You already did it very, very quickly.
And in reverse. Okay, we are going to do the very best we can to remember to speak into our microphones. However, it's going to be a mess. All right, I am going to officially start the talk 10 minutes late. Not bad. Thank you, everyone. I am Duango AC. I have my kids here. This is Rentendo, with a W. That is Defenisam. And yes, it came from the word defenestrate, which means to throw a person or thing out the window. I have never thrown him out the window.
He's thrown me out the window, but my mom was there to catch me.
That was very funny.
I was screaming.
She didn't know. So I am Duango AC. I am the president of the North Bay Linux Users Group. I'm also a senior engineer at Siena, at least for now. I am the president of the North Bay Linux Users Group and an advocate for open source software. Everything you see happening here is running on Linux, and in fact, System76 is a company that makes Linux laptops natively. This talk is one you may have seen pieces and parts of in the past, but I'm modifying it specifically for MAGFest. So if you ever made it to DEF CON and saw a talk there, it's pretty incredible. All right, so we're going to talk about speedrunning within human limits. Now, most of you in the room, being at MAGFest, probably already know a lot about speedrunning, but there's some subtleties. So human speedrunning is inspired by in-game completion timers. Back in the days of Super Metroid, you would have a time at the end of the game, and the graphics would change depending on how quickly you finished it. They continued that forward in Super Metroid. And basically, people started trying to complete the game as fast as possible in a variety of different categories. And not just Super Metroid, a lot of different games. Could be anything from any percent to really obscure categories like low percentage with no major glitches. Now, Speed Demos Archive became a site that started categorizing all of these runs, and there are other websites such as speedrun.com. Now, Speed Demos Archive is all about tracking the fastest completion times from game start, not from game power on, and it also has extremely strict rules. There's peer review on every video, no cheats, no macros, you can't use keyboard macros, you can't do anything that's considered not kosher, right? If it's not doing something with pure human input, they don't want to have anything to do with it. So, if you go watch these speedruns, the best completion times, it's amazing what a human being is capable of. Now, tool-assisted speedruns take the human out of the equation. It's moving from human limits to hardware limits, right? And you could say tool-assisted speedrunner TAS is a verb, it's a noun. I'm a TASer working on Tetris. I'm tassing Tetris. I tass Tetris, past tense. They made it. You get the idea. Now, the interesting thing is the earliest versions of tool-assisted speedruns actually predate what you might have thought of. It actually goes all the way back to things like Doom. And in 1991, they did Doom Done Quick, which completed the whole game in 19 minutes and 41 seconds. There was also Doom 2 variant, various things like that. But the real thing that happened that was very interesting was in 2003, when someone named Morimoto released a movie file. It was a WMV file. Now, just to kind of point out the primordial ooze that was 2003, you still probably had a Pentium 3 processor. Memory was still measured in megabytes. YouTube wouldn't exist for another, 5 years? So when this thing came out, it was not exactly understood what was going on here. You had this WMV file with no extra data about it, and all you saw in this movie file was Super Mario Bros. 3 being absolutely destroyed in about 11 minutes. And there's all these insane things going around. 100 lives, 99 lives, I should say, constantly doing silly tricks, going within a pixel of death. You can see a couple of screenshots here. And the problem was, it was really controversial, especially within the speedrunning community. And the issue was that the person who made this, Morimoto, used an early emulator called Fantasia, and he didn't tell everybody he had done this. He did on a website separate from the video in Japanese. So a lot of English viewers had absolutely no idea that what they were looking at was a tool-assisted speedrun. And the problem was it was inhuman skill on display. It also means that with these types of tools, the hardware limits, the game programming, the code, the actual physical constraints of the console became the only limits. And it kind of looked like the doped Olympics, right? You were, like, let's just kind of be careful with that metaphor. There are kids in the room, my own kids, but So here's the thing. If you're going to dope, you should admit to doping. And that's also why if you're going to make a tool-assisted speedrun, you need to add labeling to say this is not done with just human ability alone. This is being done with tools. So out of that, someone named Bizquick created NES Videos technically late 2003, but it started to get notoriety in 2004. And NES Videos eventually became TASVideos.org, which now hosts tool-assisted speedruns for a lot of different platforms. Now, one of the things that happened is we moved toward emulation accuracy through an evolution of faster PCs, because early emulators were really, really inaccurate. Now, they used clean room engineering, or frankly, just flat out stolen manuals, to get to a point where they could understand exactly how everything inside of this physical piece of hardware over here worked, so that you could then emulate that on a PC. Now, the original ones were very inaccurate. The Fantasia run that the original Morimoto run of Super Mario Bros. 3 was done on had terrible sound effects. It didn't sound right. It was very weird. Now we have things like BSNES and Huygen and other things that are extremely accurate, but sometimes they can have extremely poor usability. But they can, as best as we possibly can, match actual hardware frame for frame. An example of earlier emulators that got things wrong is here in the screenshot. That opacity was not done properly. You couldn't see through the clouds because it wasn't emulated correctly. Newer emulators can do that, but of course, newer emulators required a lot more beefy hardware. So it took a while. Now, there are console emulators for a lot of different things. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, a lot of other platforms, Sega, DS, all kinds of crazy things. There are also these re-recording frameworks, and that's things like Hourglass. This slide is outdated, and I meant to update it and never got to it. There's a new framework called libtas, which is amazing. It allows you to do tool-assisted speedruns inside of Linux, which of course I'm a big fan of. I'm tooting my own horn a little bit. I made a re-recording framework specific to NetHack. We're trying to complete the entire game of NetHack in 2013 turns. More on that some other time. Actually, we're trying to do it in 2003 turns, but that's just not going to happen. So okay, this is, why did I leave this slide in here? I don't remember this slide. Yeah, I don't remember this slide. I apparently left this in from when we gave a talk at HEDQ, or SDDQ. So there are some other tools that you can use inside of an emulator. You can do memory searching, you can do Lua scripting. So Lua is an embedded language where you can kind of do some fancier scripting to maybe try to find a specific memory value you're looking for. And it's a lot more than just frame advance and save states. So when we talk about frame advance, what we mean is that you're running in an emulator. You have full control over the entire video game console and the game. You can go forward in time. If you don't like what you see, you can go back to a save state, take yourself exactly back to the state that the entire system was in earlier. You can try a different set of input, see if you like those results, save your state, move forward, keep iteratively improving. And when we talk about a frame advance, we mean literally moving forward 1/60th of a second, one video frame that's rendered on the screen. Sometimes you have lag frames where the game doesn't have a chance to ask the controller for input because it's busy doing other things, and you'll also see that the graphics aren't rendered on the screen. That's what we call a lag frame. Okay. All good? Okay. So, you can use these tools to do some really advanced stuff. You can do Lua scripting that allows you to find a specific condition. Maybe you figured out where Mario's vertical speed is. So on the screen you can see speed 40. You can keep adjusting things so that you get the best possible outcome. Now, you can also go so far as to disassemble the RAM or the ROM for a complete understanding, and that's where Binary Ninja can be really cool. There's some other things like IDA, but Binary Ninja is awesome for this kind of stuff because there's actually an NES mapper in there, and it can take game code that's in original assembly, if you will, and generate a diagram like this that helps you understand the flow of logic. Now, I'm here with TASBot, and a lot of you in the room seem to be familiar with him already, which is awesome, thank you. But if you have never seen TASBot before, he's kind of interesting. It's really TASBot, he's an individual. Right now a slightly broken individual, but TASBot is nothing more than an original Rob robot holding what we call a replay device, pretending to be a normal, innocent controller. You might consider this what's called an evil maid attack. We're connected to the console, we're acting completely normally, but we don't necessarily have the game's best interests in mind. So I'm going to quickly run through what console verification devices mean, and then we'll get onto a live demo, because that's what you're really here for. It really is what you're here for. So early console verification devices, all the way back in 2009, someone named True from the TAS Videos community made a simple device that would press buttons. It wasn't very effective. In 2011, Micro 500 made a first device that could actually replay Super Mario Bros. 1, and that was used at Summer Games Done Quick 2011 to play back Wizards and Warriors by Dark Cobalt. Droid 64 made, SoCal made a Nintendo 64 emulator, not emulator, replay device that could play back Super Mario 64. Then Micro 500 made his own N64 device. So there's been a lot of other interesting devices. Now, TASBot happened in 2013. And it was me preparing for the very first presentation at Awesome Games Done Quick 2014 at the time. Let me back up a little bit here. Before I did my device, GoSonic did another SNES device that could also do Genesis, and right now I think his is the only one that's purpose-built for that. Now True made a device called his NES SNES replay device, which is what we actually used at AGDQ 2014. It's pretty inexpensive, but it was also very limited and kind of challenging to be reliable. So ultimately, we took that board and a Raspberry Pi, and at the time all I used was zip ties, and I strapped them to this guy, and I called him Robberry Pi.
That name did not stick.
No. Nope. He was immediately rechristened by Mecha Richter as, I'm loving this TASBot, and the name stuck and has taken on ever since. I still have a little bit of concern that Nintendo is eventually going to be like, what are you doing? That's a Rob Robot. But hasn't happened yet. So we've also had some other interesting devices. Oops, I moved a mouse cursor and now there's stuff on the screen. He made a multi-replay device which was very interesting. It was self-contained, completely autonomous. You didn't need anything connected to it. You could just take this device. It was powered off of the console even. It worked, but it was also really hard to use. Then we moved on to other crazy things. We did a Game Boy player, so we were able to do this stuff on actual Game Boy Advance. But I want to show you a live demo, because that's what you're here for. Like, I wouldn't have all this crazy stuff on the screen if we weren't going to do at least one live demo. Except live demos always go wrong. So let's see what goes wrong this time. I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to give this a shot. Okay, what have I done next?
What game are we going to break today?
We are going to break absolutely positively everything.
I mean, which game?
I think we're going to do probably, well, I see Super Mario Bros. 3, so why don't we do that?
Okay.
Do you
Are we
want
going to game warp again?
I need the audience to vote. Do you want half a second worth of Super Mario Bros. 3, 2 minutes of Super Mario Bros. 3, or 11 minutes of insanity? Okay, let's do 11 minutes of insanity then.
Can't it be 20 minutes of insanity? It's even more fun.
Okay, now which one did I use? Oh, there are so many chances for this to fail. Well, first of all, I have here a copy of Super Mario Bros. 3. I have there a copy of Super Mario Bros. 3. The reason I have 2 copies of Super Mario Bros. 3 is because they released 2 different versions of it, and no one really noticed. There's a 1.0 version and a 1.1 version, and I can't remember which cart is which. And
I looked over it. I looked at it earlier, and I looked at differences. The only differences were tiny little like specks of dirt or dust or something. That's the only difference.
And another difference is on the back of one of them. It has names on it.
It has something that says Zach Allen for some random reason. I have no idea why.
I am so sorry, Zach Allen. You wrote your name on the back of your cartridge in 1993. We're never going to forget you. I have no idea who you are. I'm sorry for you.
And then this one is clear on the back, but still.
Okay, almost there. Which file is it? Which file is it? So this is where you realize I know exactly what to do. I have all of the files on my system. Which one is it? Where is it? All right. Aha, now I know I'm in the wrong directory. I'm like, nothing makes sense. Okay. And we are going to use the just 100%. Bear with me just a little longer. Like I said, this is all the stuff I would have had completely ready had I not been doing a lot of other really, really broken things.
Also, if our plane wasn't delayed.
Well, that wasn't a big deal. We did have a very interesting plane story, but everybody has interesting plane stories. You didn't come here for that. You came for things getting completely broken. Okay, the problem is I've been doing a lot of Super Mario Bros. 3 100% runs lately, like a lot of them because it's not very consistent. So my history is filled with 100%, and that's not what I'm looking for. I am looking for this one.
Which one is this one? You're not being specific. Which one is this one? There are many this ones, but which one?
I am looking for
Which
Leo.
one is this one?
Ah, there it is. Total control. Okay.
Don't do that.
So yeah, this is definitely the case of I have way too many.
Sam, don't again.
Screensavers. Okay. And I think I have finally found it. Wow. Okay, so I have so many different versions of Super Mario Bros. 3. I even have one version where you can do Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, 3, and Lost Levels with one replay file, and all of them work at the same time. It's actually pretty incredible.
How many levels do you have? 10? Do you have 20? Do you have 1,000? Do you have 100? I'm skipping a lot of numbers. Which one? How many?
A lot.
A lot is not specific.
Yeah, I probably have like, we've probably done about 6 runs of Super Mario Bros. 3.
Only 6? I thought you would have more than that.
You
A
know.
whole lot more.
Okay, watch out.
Sorry.
Sweet, I found it. Okay. We're going to do this on ports 3 and 4. Okay. We're going to use the TASLink board.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, the small controller on the front of TASBot that looks like a controller, that's not an actual controller. He's not actually pressing the buttons. That's just a visualization board so that it basically just shows what buttons he's pressing.
And he presses a lot of buttons very fast, so it's basically just a bunch of lights blinking a lot very fast. You can't tell what buttons he's pressing, it's so fast.
All right.
Okay. And here goes. Yay, we got Super Mario Bros. 3 on there. Whew, okay.
Finally! Almost there. Almost going. For now, it's flashing 3. A 3, for some reason, wearing one of those little squirrel suits. I forgot what it is.
I never noticed the tail on there.
The tail?
Yeah, I never noticed the tail on the 3. Should I hear audio right now?
No, because Super Mario Bros. 3 does not have audio at this point.
It doesn't have audio?
Nope. Invalid start byte.
I'm sad now. I like hearing stuff.
UTF-8 codec can't decode byte 80. Invalid start byte. I'm using the wrong file.
How much longer? Will it be 1 minute? Will it be 5 minutes? Will it be 10 minutes? Will it be 1,000 minutes? How much longer?
Probably not 1,000.
How about 1,000 seconds?
Not
Not
even
that
1,000
long.
seconds. More like 1,000 milliseconds.
Oh, it's just,
Or 2,000
okay.
milliseconds?
Case is important.
What? Dad? Is that it? I'm sad now.
This is it. Okay.
Okay, that's better. It was so fast. I was like, wait, was that the whole time?
So we have, I have, this is like way too loud, I bet, sorry.
I
But
think it loud.
we know.
Loud is fun.
So this is Super Mario Brothers 3, and there is a 50-50 chance that I've got the wrong cartridge in.
Or a 100% chance.
Not a 100% chance.
Possibly.
So I don't know about you, but this game is hard. So when I see that happening, it really, yeah, it's just really difficult. So if it these things, it'll do it right up here. Yay! I don't know about you, but I cannot play like that. I just can't do it. So we're gonna go get the work whistle. There's a lot of movement tricks to get this as fast as absolutely possible. Right there, he used a shell to fling at that block to get the tail faster. And he got the tail there because it's quicker than getting into the castle, which we'll be going to next. When I found this when I was a kid, I freaked out. I thought I was awesome. Okay, so everyone's seen this part.
I like the parts with the grass better. The lava levels, I don't like.
All the levels are the characters.
So there's some subtle little touches, like right here, he parks Mario directly between the mirrors, which I don't, yeah. Okay, so classic Super Mario Brothers 3, we're gonna warp again, except we're gonna do this first. I wonder why we would do this. Easy. So our destination is not to get to level 8. Our destination is to get someplace else. Yep. Now, I still don't know if I have the right cartridge. If I don't have the right cartridge, this is going to crash instead of do cool things.
Doesn't it always crash? Eventually
you know.
it crashes.
Well, I don't know if it always crashes. Sometimes we manage to make it not crash.
There's a glitch.
Not fun when it
Just the
doesn't
shells
crash.
in just the right place, and you go. There's a glitch that if you get the shells in just the right place, and you go in the right place, something happens. This might not work on this console. I mean, this cartridge.
All right.
Yep. That's the glitch.
One of two outcomes. Either it will break completely right here, or we will see success. And if it breaks completely, I start blowing on a cartridge and we do it all over again.
You know,
And if it succeeds, here come the dinosaurs.
dinosaurs.
Yeah, wait for it.
You know what would be really funny? If we did it on one of the levels that I made.
And we're done. Next up, who wants to play Color a Dinosaur?
We're gonna color us a dinosaur. It didn't work. Pseudo color a dinosaur.
I think they like it.
So, I can tell you right now that if you plug in a controller, you can actually color a dinosaur. Unless yeah, I think you guys can see that TASBot is pressing buttons up there. Are they appearing? Okay, you can see he's actually moving around like a normal human being. And you can, in fact, plug in a controller at this point and color a dinosaur. Because why not? I mean, he looks like a really friendly dinosaur. For the most part. I'm not so sure he's as friendly, though.
What happened?
What?
What happened?
Done with
what?
the picture, so that happens.
What?
The dinosaur got unfriendly. But let's get back to some Super Mario Brothers 3, shall we? Now, see, I like Super Mario Brothers 3, but you know what else I like? I like Super Metroid.
question at this moment. How?
Wouldn't you love it if you could do that?
If I could do that, I could do a lot of things.
I'm sure you could. This makes this level so much more interesting. Okay, we're done. So let's see, Warp 2, 1-4, Shell Shield. Okay, 1-4 is not my favorite level. It's really long, it's an auto-scroller. Oh wait, look, we have a shell. We have a shell whenever we want it. Okay.
Shell just went by. It's
Yes.
like, goodbye, I am done now.
You swim.
What happens to Mario?
He
Is that
has-
even Mario?
It's Mario, he just has swim physics.
Either swim physics or a lot of plastic surgery. Which one?
So I would always love to do that. That would be great. Let me just get rid of that. Oh, I can't seem to break this block. Oh well.
Or he did.
So I just love the insanity of this section. Like, there's nothing that even remotely makes sense.
That makes it all the more fun.
By the way, we gave this to Mitch Flower Power to try out. He really struggled. Okay, but let's do the swag shot.
Swag shot?
The swag shot.
What?
Swag.
I know what swag is.
Ooh.
What?
Pwn scroll.
Oh.
Man, this
He's
level
about
just takes forever. Is there any way we could get through it maybe a little faster?
I'm sure TASBot will take care of that. What happens to the boat?
What boat? There is no boat.
I guess it's just a bunch of random things. It's like a toddler took a piece. It's basically like a toddler took a piece of paper that had that picture printed on it and then crumpled it and then tore it into pieces and then glued it back together in a very interesting way.
So it is a completely normal level. You can just sort of control how fast things go. So anyway, he decided to actually finish it properly because it just seemed like the right thing to do.
I'm sad. Is he really gonna finish it? Yay! He's not gonna finish it properly.
Not really. Why would we do that when you can just mess around? It's amazing what's off the edge of the screen that you can't see. Vast chunks of memory that are complete nonsense. Ooh, surprise me? What do you think is going to happen?
No clue. Oh yay! Wait, what? Is that
Oh,
supposed
he
to
lost his
be
gravity.
there? What happened?
We're going
Oh.
full VVV.
Why is he upside down?
Because we decided to play VVVVVV, that's why.
What's VVVVVVVV?
A hard game that's fun? Okay, you can clip there.
What?
Well, he's just reversing gravity.
Wait, what the? What? There's not supposed to be a pipe there. What just happened?
He clipped to the wall.
Yeah, he put a pipe there.
Mario, your logic is very interesting.
This is also very interesting. There's a shell, and that's all it took.
You can't defeat Bowser like that. That's just not a thing.
Skill shot.
How is this a thing?
Apparently it is a thing. Now, of course, you've all been to this room if you've played this game long enough and have been dedicated enough, but the princess is always really snarky. So would you like to read this for me?
Hi, Leo, TASBot, and Lord Tom of TASVideos.org. Hi, Jack SMB3. Can we do your segue next? What?
And yes, we talked about hijacking Leo Laporte's segue on This Week in Tech. Anyway, so that was Super Mario Bros. 3 in less than 11 minutes. Now, I respect your time, and we are running out of that precious resource. So we're going to skip past this. There is another thing you can do that I didn't show you, and that's this crazy method of using shells to write shellcode. Now, The glitch we just showed you involved a pipe glitch. It's actually well known. Mitch Flowerpower is a well-known Super Mario Bros. 3 runner who is capable of doing it in real time. We just took it to the next level and were able to take over the entire console, at which point we could alter the rules of the game, as you saw. No version of Super Mario Bros. 3 actually has a backdoor written by the original authors of the game. We added that. Specifically, Lord Tama, who was the author of this TAS, added that. Now, there's another glitch you can do in the first level, which involves manipulating memory in these really crazy ways, where you stomp on shells at exact coordinates. This screenshot is a really great example of how you can take, how do I say this? Take Lua scripting and add in extra information. So in the lower left, you can see he's got memory values and boxes to show where every single shell is, and a green versus red to show whether or not it's in the correct location for what we want. And he used this tool. This was Master June, who did the actual work on this. He used this tool to find a sequence of events to arrange all of these shells in the right order. There's a very high chance of failure, but I can show you this if you want to see it. Okay. Swap cartridges for me.
It's more fun when stuff fails and you get to see what happens. And then you can break the game. It's more fun when the game is broken, because then occasionally the game warps. And if you have seen SGDQ or AGDQ, then you may have seen a game warp. It went from Super Mario Bros. 3 to Portal, and then to a few other games. I'm not quite sure what other games.
We managed on our stream. We actually have a stream. On our stream, we literally shove data through a console. I'm not sure whether it's the NES or SNES, but basically, we play music.
Don't spoil it. You'll see. Okay, this should actually go a lot faster because I actually have a script for this. Okay, who knows if this will work?
No one does.
Oh, you want to be able to see it? Hang on. I'm coming. Okay, well that part started out promising. I still might have the wrong cartridge, by the way. I can't remember if I need PRG0 or PRG1. So there's two different variants. Okay, so we're going to rearrange shells in a very specific order. And he's also trying to reduce lag here because there's now too many objects on the screen. So you can really see the lag frames happening there where the console just can't render everything at once. Wrong cartridge.
Or not. I guess TASBot decided, no thank you, this is the wrong cartridge. I don't want to do this anymore.
Back
Undo
to
my
Zach Allen.
microphone. Okay. So this actually gives me another chance to show you a little bit of the crazy things that are happening. Now I showed you in that screenshot that when we did it in the emulator, we were able to use tools to see where things were on the screen. What's happening here is as we're rearranging these shells, we're getting everything on screen organized in just the right way so that each of the shells positions on the screen while it was alive and the position after you stomped it. In other words, that shell right there, that green shell that's upside down, its position in memory is kept. Now, it wasn't quite the right position. That's now the position he wants it to be. And then there's also the position of where it leaves the screen. All of that goes into a table. There we go.
What happened and why is it doing wavy screen?
Why is it doing wavy screen? Well, why not? So this was originally presented at AGDQ 2017. And it kind of hurt a lot of people's brains because it's basically a demo scene production. You can see that TAS logo is flying back and forth. Along the bottom of the screen is all of the authors who helped with this. I really did want to show it just because there's just so much insanity going on here. I regret that this is going to take just a touch of time, but it's worth it. So what's happening here, we've gotten to the point where we had complete control of the console. And at that point, we can do anything we like. Anything that will fit in RAM, anyway. So Fuzzle composed an audio track, basically composed some chiptune music, which he just made a remix of this level, and it's playing in the background. Now, there's another thing that's going to happen here in about 30 seconds. Okay, so the music has ended. This is going to take about 30 seconds. The reason we did this is because we were transitioning from this console to another one where we were playing Mega Man, which I know is a very famous game around here, and we broke Mega Man and did a very different thing on that one, and then paused and moved away from that console as well, and then moved on to a Super Nintendo and played a game on that one, and then we used all three consoles at the same time to do something really insane. I'm not going to spoil the whole thing. Go back to watch the AGDQ 2017 payload to see what we did.
You can also watch Brain Age. That's a good one, too.
That is, but that's from 2016. We've done a lot of stuff with TASBot over the years. But the reason we're waiting around here is I want to show you what's possible with this. It's almost done. Come on. We made this pause long
It takes a while. It's annoying.
Okay.
Finally.
Finally. Yep. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. Wow, it's been way too long since I've done this. I hope I remember what I'm doing. So we're going to init live audio. Did you hear that little doo-doo? Okay, let's hope that, that we can get this working. So I need to very quickly get a web address of an online radio station. Let's pick one. Why don't we go for OC Remix here? Oh, this touchpad is so painful. Ever had that experience?
It's annoying. How long? How much longer?
How much longer?
Once again, how much longer?
About 20
10
seconds.
seconds. 1, 2, 3,
Oh my goodness,
4,
you are
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16,
Okay, how about right
17,
now?
18, 19, 20. All right, now.
No, what?
Now.
Now?
Now.
Okay.
Now.
Okay, how about right now? Do I have any audio? That sounds like static.
It's very quiet. If there even is audio, I can't tell.
It's quiet. It's too quiet. Which one of you is...
Okay, be quiet for just a second. Let's see if I can actually make anything out. This is not what it's supposed to sound like. There's a bitrate mismatch somewhere. You can make out audio, but it's really crappy sounding. It didn't sound this bad before. So let's do something a little bit better, shall we? That was bad. Okay. Now you can only do mono audio at 7-bit PCM. That's interesting, but what if we can take this another step further? Let's switch our friend over to this guy, and instead we are going to do del save, and let's see. Okay, I do need to hook up my controller cables here. So we're going to connect the Super Nintendo real quick. Okay. And let's...
How much longer?
I don't know. We'll find out. I don't currently see a video signal.
5 seconds.
How about 5 seconds?
How about 1 second?
How about I just do it the easy way? There we go. Okay, we're already deleted. Now we're going to do okay.
Now will it work?
Yep. This is worth it, guys, trust me. So first of all, It's everybody's favorite game.
It's one of my favorite games. My favorite one is Super Mario Maker. That way I can make the scariest levels ever. It's really fun. It's also fun watching my dad die, trying to get through the level.
See, this is the
It takes him
innocence
a
of kids.
lot of time to get through the level.
Okay, so obviously things are not normal. At least they're not what they would normally be in this game. So this is Super Mario World. It's a great game. There's a lot of crazy things going on here. As is always the case, what you think is happening is not what's really happening. So we're going to lure this charging Chuck over here, and he's going to have a really poor day, but we're just going to watch his progress rather closely.
Wait, charging chucks can go over pipes?
Oh, and there's Yoshi again.
Oh, hi Yoshi, again. Why is he stuck in midair? Wait, what just happened?
Let's do this. 989. Let's try this. Right, and let's try this.
That's a lot of music, very quick.
So this is a local file I have rather than trying to stream something over the internet.
This is actually our.
This is true 16-bit, 32 kilohertz stereo audio. This is a remix done by DJ Pilate. He's a wonderful composer. We do use an emphasis bit here to change the appearance of the background there. And while this is a chiptune version, this is really, really high quality stereo audio. I'm super happy with the sound that it produces. So when I stream on twitch.tv/DewangoAC, this is how you hear my music going on. Meanwhile,
It's the beginning, but we wait for people to come to the stream.
Meanwhile, you can draw,
5 minutes.
and that thing on the left there, let's issue a redraw command. So this is one pixel at a time. You can see that people have been playing around and making artwork while I've been gone. So
Fun artwork.
that is. So people are doing all kinds. So my stream is nuts. When I'm on Twitch, I have weird audio going through a Super Nintendo. I have people drawing who knows what graphics on my screen. We still have moderation tools we need to improve because, you know, that can go badly.
Also, something really hilarious. When I was about 6, 7 years old, I created a character out of TASBot. Tasarina.
Yes. She likes redecorating TASBot.
I took some of my old doll clothes that I didn't use anymore, and I put them on TASBot, and I created Tasarina.
Yeah, she did.
We need to get TASBot a sister. We need to get another Rob robot and name it Tasarina. I can put an old dress on it, an old doll dress on it, and make it Tasarina.
I thought I had a slide, something where I had both on the screen at the same time. Apparently I don't. So I'm just going to leave the music running. So there's all kinds of notes on here. I'm going to make sure you guys have my slide notes if you want to see them, of exactly how we did all the crazy stuff for Super Mario Bros. 3, how the audio worked. But let's just kind of... man, do I have enough time? Do I have time for a 5-minute demo? 5 minutes? 8 minutes, okay. We're gonna do this. We're gonna have TASBot play Super Mario World. Again. That's expected. Let's hit the shut up script. Okay. We are going to do... Okay, so... Oh, that's not what I wanted at all. That's what I wanted. So I had a reset switch, but I didn't quite get everything hooked up right, so... Okay, there's that. Okay, we're gonna play Super Mario World again. Just the one last time, just for fun. So So you've already seen this once, but I'm going to try to, as best I can, explain some of the crazy things that are going on here. There's one very important thing you should know. This is a completely unmodified Super Nintendo with my original copy of Super Mario World. There are no hardware modifications on this console whatsoever.
Wait, original, do you mean by the one that you worked all summer to get?
Yes, it's true. I did. I scraped paint off of barns. I did all kinds of stuff as a kid. I really wanted a Super Nintendo. I really wanted a Nintendo. So there's a lot of mechanics in this game that are now fairly well understood. That was a despawn where we went off the screen enough to get that shell to reappear, and that set up an object attribute map in memory. That allowed us to organize memory in just such a way that when we get this charging Chuck and lure him all the way over here to the right, we trigger a scenario that is basically full control of the entire console. And we can do a lot of different things with it. Once you have full control, you can do anything you like, including this.
Wait, Super Mario Bros? Weren't we just playing Super Mario World?
Yes,
I
we
had
were.
a feeling we would game warp, and I was right.
Well, we didn't just, So we're going to say TASBot plays Super Mario,
Super Mario everything.
yeah, it kind of hurts my brain too.
Super
Now,
Mario everything.
this is completely playable. If I had my controller up here, you could walk up here and try to play it yourself, but we're running low on time. So let's just leave that in the background, and you'll hear those random sounds as we walk through the final bit of little slides here. So this was Super Mario Brothers inside of Super Mario World. It was made by P4+2 and Master June. A lot of credit to them. It was originally done at, I believe, HDQ 2016, I want to say. Maybe it was 15. No, 2015. Yeah, it was 2015. Boy, I've done a lot of these. So there's some extra information in here on exactly how it was put together. This was that object attribute map, or object attribute memory, you could say. And Dots Are Cool made a really amazing video explaining what happened there. But basically, you're manipulating memory in a certain way. A magic school bus gets involved somehow.
A magic school bus?
Yeah. So just input, nothing else, you can directly trigger the credit sequence or anything else you like. Now, there's a lot of equivalence between Tool-Assisted Speedrun and security community InfoSec equivalents. A save state is really kind of similar to a VM snapshot. Frame advance is a lot like going through a virtual machine and just doing a VM clock tick. A glitch is just a vulnerability in software. And arbitrary code execution is just another word for exploit. We talked about acing runs earlier. That arbitrary code execution is anytime you have the ability to take complete control of the console. A console verification, you might say it's an evil mate attack. We're connecting directly to a console that's unmodified. We look like normal controllers, but we don't exactly have the best intentions in mind. So tool-assisted speedruns are fun, they're technical, they're also educational, because if you get into doing this kind of stuff, if you look into glitches in video games, if you explore emulators and use those tools, you will start doing the exact same types of things that are done in honest-to-goodness security research. This is a great legal way to do that. So, are we cheating? No, we're just looking for technical challenge, visual entertainment, but we've also raised over $400,000 for charity at Games Done Quick events for both Doctors Without Borders, Prevent Cancer Foundation, and some other smaller events as well.
Is this year or every single year combined?
Well, and these numbers almost need revised. Last year was absolutely incredible. We did, I think, 4 different major events and raised over $150,000 last year alone. So
Is
it's
this
been really fun.
all of the money combined?
Yeah, 400,000 is kind of an outdated number, but it's about, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been an incredible journey, and there is no way I could have done it on my own. Huge thanks to Media Magnet, TyKevin83, Micro 500, who built a lot of the hardware you see here, and those amazing visualization boards. He deserves a lot of credit. Lord Tom, who did the Mario 3 stuff, Master June, Ilari, Invarial, Jakku, Onosaurus, P4+2, Codeworks, AIS523, Fuzzle, a gazillion others in the community. If you have any interest at all, swing on by twitch.tv/DwangoAC. It's Mr. TASBot on Twitter. And there's also a Discord server at discord.tasbot.net. So if you want to be part of this community and meet all these people that do this crazy stuff, have at it. I don't know the name of the person who was helping me earlier. Huge thanks to him for helping me cart all this stuff over from panel 3. Stump is here in the front row and helped me get set up. Defenda Sam and Nintendo hauled cables all over the place. I want to tell everybody thank you. I am concluding on time for once. Thank you everyone for coming.